guys, Ash Lane here. This next guest needs no introduction. It is Jake from OneHive, big YouTuber, OneHive Raids. We talk about the future of Clan Wars, update speculation, and some strategy things that he sees people doing wrong and how to correct them. So we really cover the gamut, and I think you guys are going to enjoy. And oh, by the way, go ahead and comment below if there's any guests you'd like to see on future expert interview series. So guys, enjoy. Hey guys, so I am very happy to have Jake from OneHive Raids here. Jake, what's up, man?
Not much. What's up, all you Ashaholics?
Well, it's really good to have you on, man. It's been a while. Obviously, a big fan, and been watching your channel, and just absolutely love your content. I know my viewers, you probably don't even need an introduction, but if you don't know who Jake from OneHive is, you can check out his YouTube channel, OneHive Raids, and there's just tons of content. And I know you have a lot of new type stuff you're working on, new series and stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the channel and you know, how it all started? Maybe a little something that viewers might not know.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a war focused channel, so pretty much you're not going to see farming raids or pushing raids or anything like that. Everything we do revolves around war, so it's really specific to that. And it just started as a way back in the day. I think it was Our War 55 was the first one I ever did, and there was a guy in our clan named Firelord Jono that sort of started doing these quote recaps to where he would just show a few of our attacks, talk about the war, and it was just for our own enjoyment, you know, just guys in our clan to look at and maybe see one of their attacks on YouTube or something, just kind of a novelty. Yeah. And so that's how it started. I was just doing one video for each war. It was a recap, and at that time, again, I never really thought that anybody outside of OneHive would watch one of our videos. I mean, it was like, why would anybody want to see that?
Yeah.
But a month, 2 months go by, and you realize that you've got more views or subscribers than you do in the clan. You're like, okay, someone else is watching this.
Yeah, there's someone out there.
Yeah, and so at that point, we had a lot of Town Hall Lights. This was, again, way back in the day, you know, shortly after Wars came out. And back then, the meta was Dragaloon. That's what everyone did. And so there was a guy in our clan named Rex that did a lot of he was a leader and did a lot of the help teaching people and stuff like that. And he was like, Jake, you know, back then we didn't have Skitch, we didn't have GroupMe, we didn't have anything. It was just text in game trying to teach someone how to do an attack. And obviously that's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
So he's like, if you could do a video explaining how to do a dragon attack at Town Hall 8, it would help. Like every new recruit we had, we could say, go watch this video. Here's how you do this. Absolutely. So I did it. And that was where sort of the channel, I guess, blossomed or took off, is that people to this day, I get comments on that video, hey, this helped me so much. It's up in our Town Hall 8s, blah, blah, blah. So that's where I sort of found my niche is teaching people how to do those things.
That's awesome. Did you have was there one particular video that you felt, wow, this is a turning point, or was it that video,
I'd have to say it was that video. It was just the moment of it made all of a sudden that light bulb clicked, and you could see it not only on people that were leaving comments, but in our own clan. You know, Town Hall 8 were looking at it and saying, oh, you know, just that being able to learn visually versus trying to read it and put it, you know, how you're interpreting that, being able to draw on it and say, right here, look at this, you know. It was like, okay, this is the best way to teach people to attack. So from there, pretty much forward, while we still do the war recaps every war and just talk about how the clan's doing and show the awesome attacks, every other video is basically geared towards, here's how you do the attacks that you're seeing in these recaps.
Perfect. Yeah, you do a great job at really breaking down attacks in a way that it's really pretty easy for people to understand. I mean, I know a lot of your content is pretty much maxed out attackers for the most part, not all, but a lot. And but I think you do a good job of making it translate to people who, even if they don't have max troops, you know,
yeah, and I get that a lot. I get, hey, that's great and that's an awesome attack, but I have level 12 heroes. I want something that I can do with that. And my answer is always the same, and it's hard to explain to people, but the techniques, the attacks we use, you can do the exact same thing with those lower level heroes, those lower level troops. You're just not going to be doing it on a maxed out Town Hall 9.
Exactly. You know? I get the same thing, Jake. It's that, you know, and then what you do is you try to switch things up and you show a lower level heroes attacking a lower level base, and what comments do you get then? it's not a max base.
Right.
Why
It's
you
easy.
show-
That base is crap. Yeah. Why are you
exactly. So
showing that?
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't on some of these. But
Well, yeah, and I tried to explain to people. The thing is that's why I show the high level ones. If it works there, it'll work anywhere.
exactly, exactly. I think that. Well, what is your personal favorite attack? I know it's obviously geared towards bases, but let's say in a perfect world, you could. Are you an air guy or a ground guy personally?
I'm definitely a hog guy. I hate Go Loon. I'm so bad at it. Like if there's a way to screw up a Go Loon, I will. I mean,
Okay.
it's that bad. I understand it and I can tell you how to do it, but doing it myself, not so much. So I'm definitely a hog guy.
Interesting. I'm exactly opposite because you know what? For whatever reason, I always have difficulty. It's not predicting giant bombs because even if I know where they are, I'm all right. But for whatever reason, I have difficulty either adding giants to help mitigate point damage or even knowing exactly how to deploy the hogs. It's something that I find myself struggling with more so than air raids. I'm more comfortable on my Town Hall 9 account with air attacks.
It's weird because people just, it seems like everyone's got that. They're either air or they're ground
Yeah.
there's not a lot of crossover. Not that I haven't done successful Go Loons. It's just that if I have an option, I lean towards the hogs every time. So it's funny that you're the opposite of that.
Yeah, so do you have anybody who's maybe any advice rather for someone who might be starting out on ground attacks? Is there something that obviously I give my own strategy advice, you have your own. Is there like one thing that you could say, you know what, if I notice one thing people do wrong on hog attacks, it is X?
Yeah, I would say it's not following the path of the hogs far enough. They look at the first, maybe second, maybe third defense that they're going to go to. And from there, it's like they just forget, okay, whatever else happens. You can literally path them almost all the way around the base, the entire thing. Now, some bases that are tighter, you're going to have more that are, they might get weird on you, wonky on you and go split or something. But for an anti-3-star base or something, you can literally path them from every defense start to finish. And if you'll do that, you'll have more success.
That's actually great advice because you know what? Coming from a guy who, like I said, is more comfortable at Town Hall 9 and air, you think about it, in Go Loon, 90% of the time you're doing roughly the same type of deployment in a, you're going in a clockwise or counterclockwise formation, scattering the balloons in little clumps. But
Yep.
in hogs, it's much different. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're deploying just a single line, sometimes multiple lines, sometimes a spread. So
Yep.
you're right. With the balloons, they're just going to merge. You know what's going to happen.
Right.
Hogs, much different case. So
Yep, for
there's some
sure.
good advice there. I think I'd like to get a little bit into some update speculation. Obviously, we were just on a podcast together. I love podcasts, and I know you're a clanmate of Tate. So we were on the Saturday Night Hive podcast. Check it out, guys. So we talked about a little bit of this, but I know my viewers would be interested in hearing this as well. And we kind of disagree a little bit. Obviously, neither of us know, so one of us
Right.
will certainly be wrong, and it could very well be me or you. But you think that there might be a Town Hall 11 coming, right?
I do. I think it's likely, if it's not at ClashCon, I think it will be early in 2016. I think it's right around the corner.
Interesting. And obviously I could be totally wrong here, but I don't see it coming, especially at ClashCon. But they said it was going to be huge, so who knows, right?
Yeah.
So what is state your case, sir? What do you think?
Well,
what do
I
you think
think,
the reason?
yeah, I think that one of the main reasons is kind of a strange reason. I think the changing of the walls to the actual visual of level 11 walls, to me, is a big indication of that.
Okay.
For them to sync that up the way they have now, how long has it been since Town Hall 10's come out? 2 years later?
Yeah.
Is a very strange move, and I think it's because they are going to have the new look, the new Town Hall, everything's going to be different, and they sort of, for whatever reason, wanted that to match. And who knows what Town Hall 11 is going to look like? I know that's a strange reason, but that's one indication to me. Two is the way that they're hyping it up, how huge it's going to be and game changing and all this, and you don't want to miss it. What else can it be? A new troop? That's not huge. We had that just because it was update number September update last year, whatever it was.
Yeah, the Lava Hounds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not huge to me. So what else could it be? I mean, give me an example. I'll turn it around on you. Give me an example of what's huge that's not Town Hall 11.
Sure. Well, you already know my answer. It's going to be, first of all, I think you bring up a great point about the wall color change to match the scheme of Town Hall 10.
Hmm.
So I have no arguments for you there. So you could be onto something there. I hadn't even thought. I mean, obviously I knew they matched up to the Town Hall, but I didn't think one step further. I guess that's my issue on hog raids and on update speculation that I can't go one more step into the equation. But yeah, I think that you might be onto something there. But my argument against it would be, or what I would think was huge is, I think that these Nordic tournaments and the Asian tournaments, I think it's leading us into. I think it's a secret for us. It's a little inside or beforehand speculation on what might be to come. So I think they want to take a quick step towards, or a closer step towards e-gaming, like in terms of games like Vainglory and League of Legends, where you sit down for 15, 20 minutes and you do something fast and intense that keeps you glued to your screen. I think that it might be something like that, like 5-on-5 tournaments that last maybe 20 minutes to 2 hours. Who knows? But I think for me that would be huge in terms of that would really get me excited about the game. I would, call up my friends or text them or however you talk and say, hey, get on at 7 o'clock tonight. We're gonna do a flash tournament or whatever. It's gonna be 2 hours of intense rating. So I think that's one thing,
Well,
that a whole new format is one
yeah.
thing, and another thing is I think they might add like a troop or something onto that. So that would be
Well, don't
my.
get me wrong. I would love that as much as you, maybe more than you. That sounds awesome to me, except for that's not huge to everybody. That's only huge to us war guys. The pushers, the farmers, the guys that hate war, that's not huge to them. So that's the reason I sort of lean back towards Town Hall 11. Maybe I'm wrong. You could be right. And I would love that. If you're right,
Yeah.
I won't be disappointed that I was wrong.
Yeah, no, I think you get a great point there, but I think that there's a lot of other smaller things like daily quests or missions, and I don't say that in the corny, cheesy sense, but rather in the you know get 5 raids in and you get a little
Right.
something. So
Little
I think
bonus, yeah.
that could cater more towards the lower and mid tier town hall levels, and I think that there's something still cool. I know you play a lot of Vainglory, or you're getting into that a lot. I think there's something cool about logging in and having a fast tournament that is separate from the war community. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think that the people who might not love wars or people who love farming still might like to hop into a.
That's a fair point. That's a fair
But
point.
I don't know. I think we need a break from the only high end content in the game being sitting in clouds for hours upon hours. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope there's going to be a new format that we can be competitive in.
We'll all know in what, 2, 3 weeks now?
Yeah, we'll be listening to this in a month and saying these guys didn't know anything. It has nothing to do with any of that. But I guess if you could see one, let's talk about Clan Wars here. I know you're a huge fan of having arranged matchups. It's part of what the whole One Hive community and Fair Play community is all about. I know that a lot of people have criticized, saying that perhaps people could abuse arranged matchups. So why don't you tell us briefly what is an arranged matchup and how much work it is now and how you think it could be improved?
Yeah, arranged matchups are just like my clan. If I wanted to go to war with your clan, we exchange war weights, and it's not like there's a tremendous amount of work, but there is work. We make spreadsheets. When I say war weights, that has to do with how much loot is available during the attack in a war. If you look at the storages, how much loot is in there, that gives you a good idea as to how Supercell looks at you as far as how you're weighted in the algorithm. And if you match those up and hit search at the same time, you've got a very high likelihood of matching each other up. And the hardcore war community, and I hate to use hardcore war community, it's not that, but guys that love war, that's what's fun to them in the game. Really, the only fun part about it is doing these wars, because when you hit the search button, you get a random clan that you just go wipe, or they're 2-star guys. It's not fun. It's not competitive. We roll over them and we move on to the next one. And I'm sure it's not fun for them either. No one likes just to get beaten badly at any game. So what we enjoy doing is going up against other clans that have like-minded members that want to get those 3 stars. And so to help that, I want them to just allow us to send an invite to Northern members and say, hey, we want to war you guys. They can accept or deny. A lot of people say that system will be abused, and they will make just farming clans will just go against each other constantly and just do it for the loot. Well, my response to that is, one, they already do that. The clan with the most war wins in the game simply wars their mini alt accounts, whatever you want to call it. They form a clan. They match up. They got their war weights all synced up. They hit search at the same time. They get the war. They win. They disband that clan. They form a new one, and they do it over and over again. So that's not changing anything. That's already being exploited and abused. Anything you do in a game, someone's going to find a way to exploit and abuse it. So it doesn't affect anyone really out there directly. If someone wants to play that way, to me, play that way. It still gives us a chance to enjoy the war how we want to, which is go up against other good war clans.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think it needs to be regulated or restricted in any way? I know you mentioned that it's going to be abused no matter what system they have. Do you think there's anything they could easily stick in there just to avoid, because I think part of the only I love the idea myself, but the only downside I can see is that some people like warring against One Hive, and they wouldn't get the random opportunity to go against you guys because you guys would be in your own little clique per se,
Right.
Is there anything they can do to limit that, you think, or is that just part of the game? Part of.
Well, I don't think they have to, because here's the thing: people don't realize how stressful it is for us to go, knock on FYSB's door and say, "Hey, we want to war you guys." We are mentally exhausted when that war is over. The next war is going to be a random search. It's not going to be something that's all you do is search for these high level matchups. So they're still going to have the opportunity to do that.
Do you think,
Go ahead.
Sorry. Do you think maybe having like one invitation or so a week or something would work?
I think that'd be very reasonable. One a week, something like that. Another thing that people have thrown out there is maybe no loot bonus, so that it disincentivizes people from doing it just that way. I wouldn't care if they put no loot bonus, or if they charged 100 gems to do the arranged matchup, or whatever they wanted to do. I would be fine with it. Just give us the opportunity to easily match other competitive war clans out there.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, Jake, I wanted to ask you, in your mind, is just having the number of war wins in a clan perk level, is that enough of an incentive to keep you going as far as really wanting to win wars? Or would you like another type of in-game merit or something to, is there something that you feel like they can add, or something they can add on to clan perks to just give their more, maybe more stats? I don't know what it would be, but if you're anything like me, I'm a max village. I don't have anything left to farm except for a few walls, I love having more types. Do you have any ideas along those lines?
All I can speak of is personally, I don't want to try to speak for the entire war community.
Sure.
Personally, that stuff doesn't do it for me. At this point, all I want is good wars. The war wins, honestly, that means very little, again, because it's abused. People that, the person that's in first place, all they've done is game the system. So that's devalued. Even if you showed wins and losses, again, that's devalued because of the way people do things. I don't know what would be that you could do that as far as on the war scene. Obviously, on a personal level, more achievements, more things like that. Like you said, maybe more quest type things. Do this, you get a little banner or something. I don't know. Something along those lines is fine, but that doesn't translate real well to war, because true high level wars, you have to sort of look past all that. You have to forget about the fact that if you're going to do this, you're going to lose some. It's just like any high level thing. You have off days. The other guy's hot that day. Just because a sporting event, the one team is highly favored over another, doesn't mean they always win. It's what the underdog is.
For sure.
So you have to sort of get past that and accept the fact that, look, if you're going to be in the high level war scene, you're going to have some red lines in your war log, and you can't worry about that win streak or all those things. It's just the enjoyment of that epic war. Win or lose by a star or two. It's just about that, two high level clans going head to head and all those attacks, and every star matters. That's what gets us fired up.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree with you, and for me, it's the same way right now. It's just the absolute love of the love of the war, and just really getting into that competitive spirit when you have a really close war. Because we've been on both sides in my clan. We were all Town Hall 10s when Clan Wars started, because before Clan Wars started, the game was just all about getting better. You didn't even know what for, but you were just like, we were like, okay, no more Town Hall 9s. We're all Town Hall 10 now, and you didn't know. There was no end game per se, but that's what we did. So we were going against, in the dark and all the elite, quote unquote, war clans in the game. And there got to a point where we were just losing. We only have like 126 or 27 wins in my clan, because we were winning at like a 40% clip when we started, because we were going against these really difficult, totally maxed out bases who obviously have other things going for them too.
Sure.
So it was tough, but but then we went down and we found like a sweet spot at adding 9s and stuff. And now we have the exact opposite problem, which is what you guys are going through, where we would go through 20 wars in a row where the other clans just some of them had some great attackers, but they obviously just weren't as old of a clan as we were. That's really what comes down to, because they had some newer guys who probably didn't know exactly what they were doing yet, and it became a bunch of very easy matches. So
right, yeah, you have guys that you go up against wars where they use maybe 70% of their attacks. I mean, that's just not.
Exactly.
We don't want to war with people like that. That's not fun,
Yeah, so
we already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so I agree with you that I think that arranged is definitely something that could be really beneficial to the whole entire community. I mentioned elite war clans. I was wondering, do you consider One Hive an elite war clan?
I don't even like to say that, so I guess no.
Okay.
I feel like we are one of the best fair play clans out there, and we've sort of demonstrated that by going up against the other high level fair play clans and winning most of them. Now we have losses, we're not perfect, we have off days, and there's several other very, very good fair play clans. Now, like you said, when it comes into the other third party apps and all that stuff, we're playing two different games, so you can't really say quote elite that you can beat anybody in the game, because you can't, so I don't know how to define that. And I hate actually I'm getting more and more where I hate using the word elite or hardcore, because there's such a negative connotation with it, because there's so many just immature people that identify themselves with that, and it sort of spreads to all of us. We all get that smear on us when those people act out in the public. So
sure. In terms of YouTubers, I know you must be so busy now. If you're anything like me, you dedicate hours to this game, and your passion certainly bleeds into your content. It's great. And I was wondering if there was ever anybody that you said, any channel you saw out there that you said, oh, I really like that, I'm going to model some of my stuff after that. Was there anybody you watched before you started on YouTube?
Honestly, no. That's what's so strange about the fact that I have a YouTube channel now, is that I never really watched much YouTube. I mean, when I was playing Clash, especially early on before Wars come out, I watched some Chief Pat stuff like that just to get an idea of how to, I was a noob, how to build a base or how to, farm efficiently and things like that. But when War came out, it changed so much for me. It brought that competitiveness out, and really there was no one out there doing that. Hulk started shortly before I did, but I really didn't even know who Hulk was at the time, because again, I'd had 1,000 subscribers. It wasn't like a well-known thing.
Yeah.
So no, I never really have watched many other YouTubers. Now, the situation I'm in now, people will send me videos. Like I have viewers say, hey, look, check this video out that so-and-so did, and I will watch those. So that's about the extent of it. But no, I just sort of always try to do my own thing. All my series have basically been, obviously a war recap. I'm sure someone did a war recap before I did. But, like cleanup series and how to attack videos and, the Ninja Live, the live attacks things. Nobody had ever done these type of videos before. So I always try to just sort of do my own thing.
Definitely, you hit the nail on the head as far as just, you were one of the first war content guys out there. So, of course, in a lot of ways, it was just new stuff. So,
right, yeah, exactly.
Just as far as, we're going to wrap things up shortly. I want to be respectful of your time here, but I just was wondering, as far as, you're one of the most prolific Town Hall 9 guys in the entire game. So I think maybe the viewers would really appreciate some Town Hall 9 tips. And I guess more geared towards, we'll do one offensive and one defensive tip. So defensively, do you think there's one thing that you see people doing a lot that you're like, oh, no, that's a common mistake as far as base design goes, or just a common mistake that you see people making on anti-3 Town Hall 9 bases?
And being a hog guy, I guess the first thing I look at when I'm looking at a base or something is the giant bomb positioning, because that's how I'm looking at it, to not only attack it, but also will it defend well against hogs. And I think for the most part, people don't understand how to effectively place giant bombs to where the hogs are going to trigger them at the same time. If you can do that in a base, if you can set up your pathing, your defenses in a way to where you can control the hogs going across the bombs and triggering both at the same time versus one at a time, because if they're going off one at a time, you can simply drop a heal and their hogs are going to be fine. So I would say understanding hog pathing is the only way to really know how to set them up. And we've talked a lot about that in my base building videos. But also, as far as defense, people rush defense. The simplest way I can put it in one sentence is if you can 3-star with your troop levels, your hero levels, if you can 3-star what your base is as far as defensively on a regular basis, then upgrade defense. If you can't 3-star what your base is, upgrade offense. You want to be an asset to your clan. You don't want to be bringing in things that you can't handle. So just look at it. That's as simple as you can put it.
No, it's great advice. I always try to maintain on my Town Hall 9 account. I try to make sure that I'm as low as possible on the map. While upgrading my offenses, because that's when you're, like you said, that's when you're really an asset to your clan.
Right.
When you can hop up and help 3-star. Now, I guess like we talked about this on the podcast actually, but we tend to look at the game through our own rose-colored glasses as far as we're more geared towards higher end content, probably speaking to a minority of the Clash community. Yeah. So I was wondering if you could give some advice maybe to people who are starting to transition from 2-star attackers to 3-star attackers, because it's still around that Town Hall 8 to 9 level, because you transition from those dragons to maybe hogs, and then it seems like a big step to make that, to go to the Go La Loon or the Go Ho Wee or whatever you're doing. So where do you suggest people start besides just watching YouTube videos?
Yeah, that's true, and it is it's intimidating. It is a big strategy. If all you know is Go Wipe or Go Wee Wee, and you came up in the mainstream YouTube, and not to bash those guys, they're doing a great job, and they do what they do. A lot of it's just entertainment, and it's farming and pushing, which 2-stars wins at. But if you're saying, okay, I want to be a war guy now, I really enjoy doing wars, then you've got to sort of break that mindset, and sometimes it's hard to do. But just start taking a base a section at a time. How can I take out this section? And if you can figure out the most efficient way to do that, then you move on to the next section. Maybe it's just, how can I take the queen out the most efficient way possible, the cheapest way possible? And once you figure that out, okay, now how can I address this double bomb? And how can I address that as efficiently as possible? And once you do that, once you get sort of around the base, you'll realize it might be like having 4 miniature attacks inside of one, but when you put it all together, the base is 3-star. So don't look at a base as, how can I just 3-star this base? Take it a section at a time, and I think you'll have more success that way.
That's great. That's great advice. And it seems like you might disagree with me here, but I think that you'd see the vast majority of Town Hall 9 and then going into Town Hall 10 3-star attempts is basically 2 phases of the attack. You're starting out by your goal, obviously, depending on the type of attack you're using, is to take out the clan castle and the queen, the 2 biggest defensive weapons, and then you kind of alter your strategy from there. So I really encourage people to think in 2 phases of the attack rather than just one, because that's the biggest really, I guess if you had to fundamentally break it down, that's the biggest difference between a 2-star attempt and a 3-star. You're dropping in 2 different times.
2 different times. And like I said, oftentimes with these hybrid attacks, you'll see you've got a ground and then an air, like a Go La Loon. You've got your golems and your heroes and maybe a few wizards that are going in with nothing but on their mind to take out the queen, maybe an air defense, and the CC troops. Once that's done, now you're switching gears to completely different, an air attack. So yeah, you definitely have to think about it in stages or different time. It's different. It's not just, hey, let me spam all these troops down and hopefully they'll just run through the base. It's really segmented.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that's a great just way to just mentally break it up from going to 2 to 3 stars. And I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you one last question: is, do you see any strategy out there right now that you think is I don't want to say better than the other or overpowered, but more trending? Like, do you see troops, like, I don't know if it's adding dragons or switching up spells, adding more dark spells? Is there something that's raised your eyebrow lately and been like, "Ooh, I could see that being a bigger role"?
It's so strange because it seems like it goes back and forth. For a while, it was all Go La Loon. That's all you saw. Basically a cold-blooded La Loon, and it wrecked everything. Well, then they brought the air sweepers, and it sort of immediately went back to Go Ho. Everybody was doing hogs, and that's almost all you saw. Right now in the game, it's so strange because you're seeing everything. You are seeing some dragon comebacks on specific type bases. Taking out, some air defenses and then coming at the queen side of the dragon, maybe even 8 dragons at Town Hall 9. A month ago, that would have been unheard of. So it's very Valk attacks, different ways that people are loading up these lava hounds in the CC, and you can easily exploit that with Valks and a queen walk away from the CC and stuff like that. So it's really interesting right now. As far as what's dominant, I would still probably say Goho right now, Hogs. But you are seeing it come back and go alone, and you are seeing a variety of attacks, which is really exciting. It's fun for me as a content creator to have that variety. Sometimes I get bored showing go ho, go ho, go ho, go ho.
Yeah.
Even though it's what works, you still want that variety.
Yeah, it's always cool to see new attacks, even if they might not be as effective as the old ones. Just
Right,
to switch it up, sometimes it's
Yeah.
cool to see. Oh, you added, whatever, a dragon and a Valkyrie, cool. But
Yeah.
well, Jake, thank you so much for being on. I know the viewers and listeners are really going to enjoy it, and just thanks so much. I appreciate it, man.
You bet, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
You bet.
Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. I wanted to give you 3 quick ways you can help the channel out. Number 1, subscribe if you're not already. It really helps me. Number 2 is give a thumbs up, like the video. Number 3, continue to tell your clanmates about my channel. It really helps and I really appreciate it. And also social media. You can follow me on Twitter at clash_with_ash. Also, follow me or find me on Bindle at hashtag Clash with Ash. And don't forget to visit my website, www.clashwithash.com. Take care, guys.